Yo, what's up, boys? Today I want to give you guys a recommendation because I just finished watching the show and it's a fucking 10 out of 10 banger. The show is called If Life Gives You Peaches. It's like kind of a South Korean show, so expect a lot of fucking subtitles, but trust me when I say this, you can also hear it in dub. But trust me when I say this show is immaculate. This show is fucking good. It's up there with one of my favorite shows, and it just came out this year. Now, I'll give you guys a little summary, but basically, we go through this person's life named Aeson, and Aeson lives in a fishing village, and it's South Korea. It's like 1950s, 40s, and basically, what happens is her mom kind of picks. They go diving by the rocks, and they pick out seafood and clams and all that, and that's what they eat, and that's how they make their money. But basically, it goes from that to her whole life, to her kids' lives, to her being married. And now I'm gonna start with the spoilers. So go watch it if you want to. I highly recommend it. You can also hear what I had to say and then go watch it. But basically, um, yeah, it's like a good way of seeing into the culture back then, and I feel like it's like really authentic to the culture itself. But basically, Aesol loses her mother, so she becomes an orphan. So her whole family's dead, except an uncle and grandmother. So she goes with them, and they kind of don't feed her, and they treat her like shit. But there's this one guy, and falls in love with her. Like since they were kids, he's always been there with her, takes care of her, and ultimately they end up uh, trying to run away to the mainland and off of the fishing village, but they fail because they get robbed, they get scammed, for the most part, and no one's buying like stolen treasures because they stole all their family's treasures, like rings and all that stuff. But basically, in Korea back then, you were looked down at if you stole. So, for her, she had to drop out of school because it was seen unwomanly. Damn, my hair's like a little messy. Yeah, but basically that happens, and then he ends up, fishing, and every day, so they start their whole family, and then they have a kid, and then, yeah, so they have two more kids. He buys his boats because the grandma gave all her life savings to her because the mother asked if Aeson ever asked for help to help her. And then they buy a fucking fishing boat, so he becomes captain. He gets fired of his old fishing job, then becomes captain. So everyone's celebrating, and then they're gonna have a second kid. It's a boy, so now the husband's so Aeson's husband's mom starts liking her more because back then in any Asian place, if you had a son, it was like looked really high upon you. So yeah, first one was a daughter, then a boy, then another boy. So what ends up happening is one of the boys dies, the oldest son, and then because of that, it goes into like a spiral of sadness, and then we go to modern day, kind of where the daughter's learning, and then we start following her, and it's sad because you see them like super poor, and then they come up, and then they get low again, and then she becomes the so the guy made her a promise where either he was gonna make her a famous poet, or he was gonna pay for her whole college in the mainland. Um, so those are the promises. So then they started investing all their cash on the oldest daughter, and then she goes to college and all that, and then the younger brother is like he's kind of like a wreck. He's like a bad boy. He's doing all this stuff that is wrong. So yeah, then we just follow the daughter falling in love and choosing the right man, it's all sad because we get to see her choosing a rich man, and then the parents are embarrassed in front of the rich parents, and the rich parents are being really fucked up against the Ason family, and then or should I say the Sun family, and the parents are embarrassed because they're poor and they have working man hands, um, and then the rich family's like, oh yeah, we don't want to fucking, we don't like you guys because you guys are poor. That's the problem. So then Ason breaks up with him. It's all heartbreak. They show all these things like very in detail and really good. Um, and then she ends up going to with another guy that's an artist, and he's really funny and makes her laugh and doesn't care about money and all that. And she's already in good riddance with a mother-in-law with his mother. They basically met in like in the theater during the recession times around the World War II. I'd like to say. Yeah, but then all that happens, and well, there's things that happen that are like for example, dancing was banned in Korea for the fucking 80s, 30s. Sorry, for like the set in the 70s, dancing was banned in Korea, so that shit was illegal. That's an interesting fact. And then like when you go to a family, like if you marry, like my wife's parents, I would have to call them dad and mother, and her grandmother, I'd have to call her grandmother as well. So I think all that religion stuff, not religion, but culture stuff is really cool. That's why I like these kind of shows. But ultimately, they all end up moving to the mainland, and the dad is like, we're so fucking poor. I'm gonna start a business, and I'm just kind of summarizing this. There's a lot more stuff that happens. It's 16 episodes. Every episode's an hour long. Uh, but basically, the son gets in trouble, and then the dad bails him out, and they're broke, poor. Um, so they both end up working again. He sells his boat to get his son to. Holy shit, dude! I look fucking horrible. Um, yeah, he sells his boat to get his son out of jail, bail him out, and then we basically just follow the daughter, and she starts doing a business, and then the dad starts a restaurant, and he gets favors and all this stuff, so it ends up working out. And then the wife starts Asolin starts writing poems that she's always wanted to, and then the daughter ends up she ends up paying for the medicine, the hospital, because she feels bad for them, and then they find out that the dad has cancer. So then he starts to go through chemotherapy, and he slowly starts to die, and it's really fucking sad. I cried on the last episode like 10 times. Every episode I kind of almost cried. Holy shit, bro! I look homeless. Yeah, but it's a really good fucking show. You know, I would definitely recommend it to anyone that's watching for a good cry. It teaches you about life, and I kind of started to see like older people's points of views. The dad ends up dying, unfortunately, and the wife ends up keeps writing poems and helping people out, and she kind of just survives like 20 years without him, which kind of sucks. The dad was a really nice guy, so yeah, that's the whole story. I hope you guys watch it, and I'll talk to you guys all later. Peace out.